What is going on, ladies? This is Marcia here with another episode of a LadyStrong Fitcast. And today I have LSF Maria, who is our May member of the I didn't think of what month it was, May member of the month. Today, her and I, we're going to be talking about her success throughout Lady Strong Fitness.
So the big question is this: how were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are Lady Strong Fitness.
Maria, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I know who you are, but for our audience that's tuning in today, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Maria Petnuzzo. I have been an LSF member since 22. Off and on, I've had some challenges, so I'm finally starting to get into the groove of weight loss and doing doing the workouts successfully and things like that. But yeah, it's been a long journey, but it's been a good one.
I love that. So let's back up for a sec because I don't even know. How did you find out about Lady Strong Fitness and what made you decide to join?
I saw the ads on Facebook, and I had been looking for a gym that I could go to that was close to home and had that's going to push me and that's going to make me accountable and things like that. I had another gym, they closed, and I wasn't real. I mean, it was an okay gym, but this is what I was looking for, and it was right around. It was the tail end of COVID, but I was still didn't want to go into a gym where I was going to be exposed because I have family that are sickly and small children, so I wanted to be mindset of that with them. But and that was the reason I saw the ad, and I was like, you know what, let me take a shot, and that was it. I think I did do in 21. I think I did do like a week worth of the trial period, but it I never joined. I didn't do it, and I didn't pull the trigger until February of 22.
That's fair. So I'm curious because you're not the only person that this happened to where you didn't pull the trigger right away. Was there something that was like, okay, I need to do something now versus when you came in, weeks or months prior? So what was like the tipping point for you?
I just was tired of, you know, trying to do it on my own. Not that I can't do it on my own, but I just was like, okay, it was in the summer, so I'm more active in the summer, so I wasn't necessarily ready to make that trigger point. And then one of my friends is an LSF member, and I saw that she was coming here, so I said, you know what? This is perfect. She's here, I'm here, let's do it.
I love that. Accountability always helps. It's
Yes.
to do it with someone a lot easier to do it with someone versus doing it alone. So
Absolutely. And your little reminders that you haven't been to the gym in a while, in a few days, what's going on is great. I got one last week when I was on vacation. I said I'm on vacation, but I'll be back next week.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's one thing that kind of sets us apart from everybody else. We're just not an open gym where you're known as a number. You have a name. We have a
Absolutely.
first name, and we do hold you accountable. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So
Yes.
I want to talk about your progress throughout your journey thus far. We just
Mhm.
finished. I was actually your accountability coach, which was a March Madness challenge that you won. It was based upon either muscle mass and or body fat loss, and you won that. So let's talk about how you were able to be so successful within that March Madness challenge. Is it something that you did internally or externally that really helped promote that progress that you made?
I think it was more an internal. I think the light it finally clicked because I've done challenges before with the gym, and I did have an injury a couple years ago. I had a torn meniscus, so I wasn't in the gym as much. And doing one part of the piece doesn't work. Was doing my nutrition during those challenges, but not necessarily going to the gym. And you can't, they go hand in hand. And this time I really dedicated myself to my nutrition and getting myself into the gym a minimum of 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes four, sometimes I don't think I did more than four, but at least those 4 days a week and doing your nutrition. And that really was the setup for success.
Yeah. I would say I'm a testament to that, like being able to witness you and your meal prepping. You were asking questions in regards to, hey, what foods can I alternate? I don't like this. And it was very interactive and it was fun working with you. You know, you didn't just go through the motion. You were super like dedicated to the process. So I guess my next question for you, now that the challenge is over, you know, you're back into somewhat your normal routine. You just had a vacation. Do you have any goals that you would like to see for yourself within the next several weeks and or months?
I definitely want to keep going on this path. I definitely want to keep losing weight and uh losing body fat and gaining muscle. So I plan on keeping this up. It was hard to get back into the nutrition after I was gone,
Yeah.
and after the challenge was there. I mean, not that, it was a great reminder, but it was hard. It's harder. I gave myself a little slack, but not too much.
Okay.
But now I'm starting to get back into it where I'm meal prepping, I'm weighing my foods, I'm conscious of what I'm eating and things like that. And definitely the gym is also going back into the gym, 3 days a week at least is my plan.
I love that. Are you doing hybrid? Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you doing both the semi-private and group or just the group?
I am doing both semi-private and
The group.
group.
Okay. I
And I
like
like
let's
both of
talk
them.
about that for a little bit.
Mhm.
Everybody has their own personal opinion of doing one versus the other. What are some pros of each? I'm curious, pros and or cons. So someone that's listening in, maybe on the fence that hasn't tried out a semi-private, I'm kind of curious to get your feedback because you've done both. How has that helped you?
I feel that, because I'm not competitive, but I like to when you're in the small group setting, I push myself harder than when I'm in the group. When I'm in the group, I'm like, oh, yeah, I could take those, 20-pound weights or 10-pound weights and be fine with those. Whereas the semi-private, I'd be like, no, pick up the heavier weights.
Okay.
The reps are a lot smaller in the group set. I mean, in the semi-private, so you can do heavier weights with less reps. And versus doing the group, if you're doing a minute of one exercise, you could be potentially doing, 20 reps. So
Percent.
um, I try to I definitely push myself more with the semi-private than the group, but I love the group because I like the camaraderie with the other participants.
Sure. I love that. So definitely a change of pace is what it sounds like from doing
Mhm. Yeah.
here. Well, that's good. So anyone that's tuning in, it's like it just depends at the end of the day. What are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? Do you need that extra assistance? If so, take advantage of that complimentary semi-private session. So
Absolutely.
I'd like to end each episode talking about any advice that you have for someone that is maybe on the fence about either joining Lady Strong Fitness. What would your advice be? This is a two-part question. And then the next question would be like, do you have advice for someone who's maybe a member, but they're stuck at a threshold to where they're kind of plateau, they're not seeing results? What would be your advice for them as well? So two-part question for member and non-member.
As non-members, I would say this is the most inclusive community I've ever been with. If you're struggling with anything, you can talk to a coach, a staff member, even another member about what's going on. Um, everyone's Everyone lifts you up, and everyone doesn't judge that, oh, you can't do that move or you can't do this, but I can do it. We all encourage each person throughout the community, and that's what I love about it because you just don't it's not just it's kind of a family
Yeah.
is what I like to call it because I've become friends with a lot of people in the gym, and even if I stopped coming to the gym, which I don't foresee that happening, I think I would be friends with a lot of these people outside of the gym as well.
I love that. And then for members who maybe are just kind of stuck in that plateau, what's your advice for them?
I would tell them, don't give up because, talk to somebody. I mean, if you need to talk to a coach, talk to a coach. Try something different. I am also going to try the Strong Her classes, even though they're really late at night, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm going to try it because that's something different that I haven't really done yet. That's the only thing that I haven't done. And, there's always things that you could do to make changes, to tweak things that will make you start seeing success.
That's so true. I want to tap into that and piggyback on what you said because
Mhm.
people think that you have to uproot and change everything within your lifestyle. And it's just making those minor tweaks and adjustments that's going to just really make an impact. And that means if it's, having an accountability coach or changing how you eat or, you don't necessarily have to change everything. So please don't feel as though you're alone. If you have any questions, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We're only here to help at the end of the day.
Right.
So, before we end the episode, Maria, I do have one question for you. We talked about all the things that you're doing really well, and we're human at the end of the day. We're not perfect. Is there something that you could be doing better, something that maybe you need help with, or something that is a weakness you would like to turn into a strength? If so, please be transparent and share what is that? Because I don't want people to see all the nice things. I want them to also witness like some of the good, not so good sides as well.
I struggle every day with, nutrition. Even though I'm doing good with my nutrition, there's days when it's just like the weekend comes and it's like, you know what? I don't feel like doing that. Or so I have to set myself up for success. I have to plan my meals out in order so I can succeed. It's a daily or it's a weekly thing that I have to do in order to keep myself successful. Um, and then I do the recovery now. I've been doing the stretching and things like that. And I wasn't real good with that before the challenges. And I slacked off on staying after the after class to do the stretches or doing stretches at home. And I'm starting to do that more. I'm not perfect. And even using the recovery room that we have, that's another thing that I need to start keep working on and trying to use it more and more. If I can get in there at least once a week right now, that's good for me. And I will eventually, hopefully, do it every time I go into the gym.
I love that. But that's such great news to hear. I think that what you had said, if you don't plan on planning, plan on failing, essentially.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to meet with me today. Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in of another
Thank
episode.
you.
Yes, of the Lady Strong Fit Cast. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys.
Thanks. We'll talk to you. Bye bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.